Welcome to the RIP 28 podcast. The RIP 28 podcast. This is a podcast where a few friends can get together and we can talk about a few things. Now, some of those things you might like, some of those things you might not like, but we're going to keep on talking about them on the RIP 28 podcast. I am your humble host, Slaughter Sports Guy, joined by a few of my good friends. We're going to start off in the top left, the one and only, the doctor. Dr. J, what's going on, Doc?
Hey, what up? What up? What up? Ain't nothing going on, man. Had a good dinner. Had a good, nice ribeye the wife cooked, and sweet potato, then some some broccoli. Good to go. Went on a little walk with my homeboy Bentley, and so I'm good to go, man. Got my tea here sipping. We good.
You good, huh? You good. Girl dad number one over there. Down in the bottom, Mr. Educator's educator. What's going on, LBZ?
Raise the roof, raise the roof. The educators in the building just here to be educated or to educate today. Raise the roof.
All right,
Pump
we
it
got
up.
a we got a special guest. We got a special guest. You know what I'm saying? In the times of darkness, sometimes you need a star to brighten up your world. So what we did, we brought in a star. We brought in the one and only Star M. We're gonna give a little background on Star. Star is one of my favorite biker chicks. She rides the big Harley. Star is a what is it, security specialist with IT world and all that. So that means she got plenty of money. She got plenty of money. Let me hold a couple of dollars over there. My girl Star, she is one of them girls who enjoys a nice cigar and a nice strong, what do you call it? A finger of whiskey. That thing, I don't know what they call one of them things. I don't know. Finger of whiskey, something like that. And she loves her pretty shoes. The one and only Star Moran. How you doing, Star?
I'm pretty good. Thanks for the welcome. I like to call myself a tomboy in stilettos. That's the easiest way to sum up my personality. All in all, a little tired. Took a 10-hour drive in from Michigan this morning. So,
Hmm.
but for y'all, I took off the bonnet, pulled it together, and here I am.
Hey, look at here, look at here. She is the best. She is the best in the whole wide world, Miss Star. Man, you know what, man? What you guys
Star,
over here?
you the real MVP, Star. Don't let us forget to tell you you're the real MVP.
I
Hey,
appreciate it.
you know what? Speaking of real MVP, I gave her all of those compliments and everything because she shares a hometown or she shares an area. She's from the DMV also, but she's from Baltimore. So
Be more.
I can't talk too slick about Star because Star might shoot me. You know how
Hey,
you know how they
long,
get down in Baltimore, man.
long as you know,
Everybody seen the wire, man. We know how they get down in Baltimore.
long as you know the why it was not just a show.
So it's real life, man. You know,
Hmm.
all our people out there, all our fans out there, man, we appreciate you watching. We appreciate you listening. But we want to make sure, we want to let everybody know, man, we're the RIP 28 podcast. We are everywhere. We are everywhere. We're on Apple Podcasts. We're on Google Podcasts, iTunes, Spotify, Podbay, YouTube, what else? Facebook, Twitter, man,
Twitter,
anywhere,
Anchor,
Anchor.
Anchor.
Any
Yeah.
way you listen to your podcast, any way you watch your podcast, we are there and we want to encourage all of you guys. We want to encourage everybody to go out. Make sure you hit the like and the subscribe button. Because I'm going to be honest with you, man. If you don't hit the like and subscribe button, something probably wrong with you. I mean, you was probably raised wrong. That's the only reason I can think of somebody wouldn't hit the like and the subscribe button on our podcast, man. Now, a lot of stuff going on this week, man. A lot of stuff going on. But the first thing, man, we can't go past step one. We can't go past door number one without acknowledging the great Earl Simmons, man. Earl Simmons passed away this week, better known as DMX. The dog. The dog passed away this week, man. Uh, that was tough, man. For the dog, man, we gonna have to sip on something, man. What you sipping on something down there, Bron?
Yeah, man. For the dog, I got a little bit of apple Ciroc with the Sprite. For the dog, baby.
well, now I would ask Juwan what Juwan sipping on. For we might have to explain to Juwan who DMX
Hey,
is.
look, we gotta do a show on Saturday. We do a show on Saturday. I'll be sipping on something, but
Oh Lordy.
we do it on
Uh,
Sunday. I gotta get up and get it going. I get it
Peach,
in tomorrow morning.
peach
So
snaps. He wants some peach snaps.
so I got my herbal tea here, just relaxing for the afternoon.
We need to
My God.
find Joanna Zima. They still make Zimas. We need to get them a Zima. What about you, beautiful star? What are you sipping on over there?
I got a little red wine for the X-Man. Flesh of my flesh, blood of my blood.
Ah,
There you go.
Mm,
ah,
some of that
I like
communion
that.
wine right there, man.
Seems fitting.
Me myself, man. I got a little concoction, man. I got my medieval times mug right here, and I decided I decided to get a little bit of Smirnoff. I got some Smirnoff watermelon.
What?
Yeah, man, I got some Smirnoff watermelon, and I mixed it with some what is that? Welch's pink lemonade, 'cause that's the only thing I had now.
Making all kind of stuff up over
Man,
there.
I'm making stuff up, man. I'm a real bartender over here, man.
Man,
But
you took it back to the college days with Smirnoff.
Right.
Smirnoff, man. Hey, man. I got all these mini bottles, man. When I go to the liquor store, man, I go and buy whatever particular liquor I want, but I go and get they have all those mini bottles sitting on the desk when you check out. And me, man, I just go and say, man, just give me about $20 worth of mini bottles. And whatever he put in the bag is what he put in the bag. They're $1 a piece. You can't beat
You
no
talking like
deal.
you got a 20-year-old liver, man.
Hey, well, no, it's the little mini bottles. See, we from South Carolina. South Carolina, it was the law for the long time that when you went to the bar, they ain't have free pour. They just had mini bottles. So if you order something to drink, you saw the bartender crack that mini bottle open and pour the mini bottle in your drink. So
You
that
got
was,
that moonshine liver anyway. Your liver's been conditioned.
hey man, hey, I'm a good old country boy. We can handle it. We can handle our liquor from South Carolina. We can handle it. So. But okay, but yeah, man. Let's talk about the dog, man. DMX died, man. Talented guy, trouble. Some people say trouble. I don't think he was trouble, man. He was just a brother who experienced life. I saw a post that said DMX truly lived his life. The man started out dirt poor, rock poor, you know, arose to fame, got to see the world, got to have all the money he needed, was at peace with himself, and loved everything about himself, and he died, man. And you think about it, man, that's a great life. Even though it's only 50 years, that's a lot, man. That's a lot in only 50 years, man. How y'all feel about DMX? And y'all got some good DMX moments or anything about X?
When I look at X, I don't think him as troubled. I feel like he lived the life that so many people live every day. He just let his out loud. He lived his out loud. And he was brave enough to share it. The good points, the bad points, the triumphs, the struggles. You know, he did it. He was willing to do it out loud for everybody to see it. And it's crazy because about 6 months ago, I posted a post this. I was listening to DMX for just a couple days. And I was like, yo, we never deserved DMX. He made us ready to fight and then pray for us all in the same CD. He prayed for us at the beginning, got us hype in the middle, and then prayed for us at the end. We ain't deserve that, man, when we was younger doing it. But I don't think he was trouble. He just the same life that people live every day in the streets. Lived it out loud, and he was brave enough to share it, even when he was weakest. And I think, especially for black men, y'all don't usually have a safe space where you can show that sense of vulnerability. And he did it on a worldwide stage, and nobody had the courage or would even judge him for it because he was X-Man. So I don't look at him as trouble. He just lived the life so many people do.
Mm, mm.
Man, I just appreciate X not only for his music and his talents, like you said, his prayers and being really people don't know that X was, a smart person. I just like that he was always real. He was
Yeah.
100% X. Every time you seen him, no matter what, if he was at a show, whether he was some of my coaches met him somewhere and they gave him a book that they had written. Man, he was just real, and I appreciated him just opening up his life, not showing only the good times, but the bad times and how it all interacted together, man. He was just real, and I appreciate that from X, man.
You
Yeah,
Go ahead.
yeah, I would agree that the dude was real. He would tell it like it is. You're gonna get 100. But I don't know if I don't. I still think the guy was. I think he was battling demons his whole life. And so, if you want to call that trouble, then maybe he was trouble. But I think with the drugs, I was watching. I was telling Sliders earlier. I was watching Iana Fix My Life on the YouTube. I just googled DMX. Let me see some interviews or something this week, and I saw that one episode. And one thing he told her was like, "Look, I'm a drug addict. I'm gonna always be a drug addict, and it's only triggers. And no matter what it is, it was a trigger, and I'll go right back to using drugs." And so he lived his life. He was real, but he was also I think he struggled. But like you say, everybody struggled. We just saw his on the world stage, right? And he wasn't scared to show it. He would say it, and that's what he told her. And so, but yeah, you couldn't help but love him, right? Because he was that dude who gonna tell it like it is, and you're gonna respect that. So
You know, one,
he
go ahead.
go ahead, Slot. No, you go ahead, buddy.
Now, one thing, I loved about DMX, man, and it has so much to do with music, man. DMX was the soundtrack to my college experience. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Because he came out, and I think it was '98, man. I think it was '98, freshman or sophomore year in college, man, when DMX came out, and it was just, it was everybody at that time was, Puffy was riding so high with all that shiny suit rap, and everything was, money, money, money. But DMX was just so grimy and so just rugged and
Hmm.
raw, man. He provided that soundtrack because you had that DMX going really, really strong, and then that's when P and No Limit kind of started to make that rise too, man. And it's like he took rap back to the gutter, man. And I don't know, it's just to me, I loved it, man, because they were saying something like he's the first ever person to have. He released two albums in the same year, and both of them was number
Was on the
one.
chart.
Yeah.
Both of them was chart topping number one albums. How you do that, man? Because you get people nowadays, man. You release one album every other year, some stuff like that. But he released two in the same year, and both of them was number one, man. That just show you, man, the type of love and support that this man had. And for him to be so big and so huge, he moved around. I guess he didn't have his driver's license or something like that in New York. So I know he went to Arizona. He lived out in Arizona. But the strangest thing, he moved to Greenville, South Carolina. Out of all the places in the,
Greer,
yeah,
Greer,
Greer,
Greer.
Greer. I
Yeah,
said Greenville to give it a little bit of pizzazz,
that's
man.
yeah,
too.
But
he
That's
had
too.
family
That's
here.
too
Or
much.
like
That's
what
too
was the reason
much.
there?
don't nobody know. I mean, somebody know, but I don't know why he picked Greer. Greer is like ain't nothing in Greer. That's where radio from. I don't know if y'all
I'm a
remember the
They
show.
nature freak, so if it's a lot of
radio
land,
not from Greer. Radio not from
He from
Greer. He from
TL Hannah.
T.L. Hannah. That's
Yeah,
Anderson.
that's Anderson. Well, it's all up there,
Yeah,
same place. It's all in the same
it's
area,
in the upstate.
middle.
He wasn't far from where I lived at though. He
Huh?
wasn't. I lived where DMX was living at in Greer. When I was up in the upstate, I didn't live far from there.
Yeah, it's like Bumblefuck, West Bumblefuck, South Carolina. You know what I'm saying? It's the middle of fucking
Basically,
nowhere. And this dude,
basically.
this dude just moved there. Of all the places, worldwide famous recording star can move, he moved to Greer, fucking South Carolina. And from everybody I known in the Greenville area, they all say, man, yeah, they ran into DMX at some point in time, and he was just like a regular nigga. He was just like, hey, I'm
I think
Earl.
as grimy as his life was, he was a kind dude. Like he loved animals, he loved nature, helping people. That was, kind of his thing. So a place like that where it's nature, it's animals, it seems like it just fit.
Space. But and you got to remember that just speaks to his character and the type of person he was. Usually, if we hear about somebody that has the struggles or had the shortcomings of DMX, we try to stay away from it. But in this case, man, if you seen DMX, you kind of gravitated towards him, ran to him just because, like you said, Sly, life was so grimy, so be more like.
So be more like that. It is so Baltimore like. But it's interesting, man. We talk about the low points in his life. He well documented drug addiction, and most reports say he had an overdose, and that's what put him in the coma. Which eventually led to his death. Now there are reports coming out, and this is the thing about the internet, man. I don't know how true stuff on the internet really is. But people saying that Jay-Z and Beyonce offered, to buy his masters back and give them to his 17 kids. 'Cause I don't know how many kids he had.
I think it's 16. I heard 16.
Oh, see, I just said 17
But
just to say,
either way,
say
it's a
something
lot.
crazy.
It's a lot.
But yeah, so
Uh,
they offered to give his masters to his kids, and now you get some people. I'm hearing some people they're like, well, why they want to do this for him when he dead? How come nobody looked out for him when he was living? And so, and I, I like to dig in a little bit deeper. So I'm like, what you mean? Why nobody looked out for him while he living? And somebody responded. They was like, well, he was on drugs, and ain't nobody help him. Now, I find that kind of hard to believe that nobody helped the man try to get off drugs. I think everything I know about drugs is when you own, you gotta, you gotta want to get off drugs. Can't nobody say get off drugs.
so I'm gonna comment on this as I buried my dad 18 months ago. Love of my life. My dad was an addict. And then one of the things, that you mentioned, X said in the interview, my dad always told me, I will always be an addict. I'm just not using at this time. He was clean 23 years when he passed, but it was always, he knew he was an addict. So there's nothing anyone can do for you. And growing up in Baltimore, addicts is normal. You know how to spot a fiend from 200 yards away. So
Got that shape.
that lean, they got that lean and they don't never hit the ground. They get real
Never.
close. But
You
when it
seen the
comes down,
corner.
first of all, when an addict is using, you can't give them but so much help, especially from a financial space, because it's going right in their body. That's just it. They don't have that mindset to choose anything other than that. That's the most powerful force in their life, over family, over God, over everything, until they make that decision. So if he was here and he was using, buying those masters and giving them to him, you wasn't doing nothing but giving him a supply to get high, because everything that came from that was going to go right into his body. And that's just how it worked. If he was clean, whether he was drinking, whatever the case would be, if he was clean, then it would be a mindset. But I can't see X being a person that's saying, hey, give me this stuff. Somebody give me the charity. In his mind, one thing I can always say I heard him speak about was consequences for action. And he will always say, I fucked that up. I mean, it is what it is. I fucked that up. So I can't see him being the type of man who's like, somebody help me and give me. But when somebody on drugs, ain't nothing you can do but be there for them when they're ready to get off of it. You can support them through the process, cut them off when you need to, but there's nothing you can do to get them out of that space.
Now, do you
Being
do you think that the fact that he had money it made it even worse? Because I think I heard him say that, like,
Oh yeah.
I
Oh,
got
oh
all
yeah.
of resources here, and
Not
you,
only
yeah, go
not
ahead.
only the money that makes it easier, but you got people who ain't gonna tell you no. Ain't
And
nobody gonna check you.
mm,
And the only person who's checking you is your wife. And
Yep.
you've been with her since you was 12, 13 years old. So you can get around that at a certain point. But there's no everyone needed him. So no one was going to check him. And if you got endless money, you worldwide famous, you can go anywhere. Sometimes you can get your drugs without money, just so people can say that they associated with you. So yeah, that definitely contributed to it. But some of those childhood demons that he had, all of that plays into it. And all of that
but
goes back to a space of, especially with men, black men, having the tools to deal with emotions and not knowing how to deal with that pain. And what people fail to realize is hurt manifests itself in anger, in addiction, in destruction, and all that's just pain that was built in as a child that he never had the tools to manifest and work through. So
speaking of speaking of his childhood, I was reading an article, like Sly said, now you don't know what to believe on the internet, but they were saying that at 14 years old, his mentor had laced his blunt with crack cocaine, and it was a downward spiral ever since. So how do you win with that? And he
right,
said, and he was chasing that high ever since.
yeah. He said that, and I think he did when they did that Rough Rider special last year. That
Yeah,
was his
I
first
heard
time
Mhm.
that
getting
same
out.
story too. Yeah,
Yeah, he
Yeah,
told
so
me.
that's tough.
I don't.
I mean,
It's just still sad to see him go at age 50. I'm thinking like, heck, I'm 42, so
Yeah,
eh, it's
you
like,
don't.
dude, like, and so that's the reason I got, I got kids and I want to be around for my kids, so I got to do the stuff I need to do. But it's still sad just to see him go so young because 50 is not old. So
But if you look at everything he was able to do in them 50 years, it's not a lot. But look at all he was able to do, even with his demons and his trouble, everything he was able to accomplish, all the people he was able to touch through music, through praying at concerts where everybody's smoking, they high, they drinking. But X start praying, everybody stop what they doing to pray.
X should have been a preacher.
Yeah. He said I saw an interview, he said he probably was supposed to be a preacher. He just couldn't bring himself to do it. He knew he was supposed to do it.
Mm.
But if he was that powerful and that influential as a junkie, imagine what he would have been able to do without those drugs in his system.
True.
But even at 50, his legacy, you can't deny it. You got 40, 50-year-old men who can say in their 20s they was high at a concert and drunk and stopped to pray because X started praying over him and cried in the audience in the midst of it. Nobody else was able to do that. Nobody else has been able to do that.
I put DMX and Tupac in the same tier, man. Because no matter what Pop did as his outlaw and whatever you didn't agree with, he was a powerful dude. And X was the same way. No matter what he was going through, man, his testimony and his testament to just being around, man, that's powerful within itself. Because he's been a crackhead since 14, 15, 16. He lasted 36 years. And you don't see many crackheads now lasting like that.
And I think
he's powerful, man.
The transparency that both of those guys had with all their struggles made them that more influential. They never pretended to be nobody they wasn't. If they failed, they owned it. I fucked that up. And I think that was kind of what made everyone still be willing to gravitate toward them in that space. Because, even if they failed, they owned it and kept pushing.
Yeah, and once they opened that book to the world, their book, man, it was just 100% that you got of him. You didn't have to guess, was X this way? Was he mad? Was Tupac this? Was X? They put it on the table, man, and that's what I appreciated most about them, the transparency that they had throughout their lives, good or bad.
I think that's what you want. You want transparency out of people. You want people to be honest. But sometimes being honest and being transparent, you can be too transparent, and that kind of ties into the next thing what's going on, man. Your boy Hubert Davis, man. Let's take it down a notch. DMX getting me a little too emotional, but let's take it down a notch. Your boy Hubert Davis was recently appointed head coach of the University of North Carolina Tar Heels. Man, a huge thing for those of you who don't know who Hubert Davis is. Hubert Davis was a former North Carolina Tar Heel. Hubert Davis played in the NBA for I don't know
12 years.
12
12
years.
years.
I know he played. Yeah, I know he definitely had over a decade worth in the NBA. Then he worked for ESPN for a good little bit. He worked for ESPN, and then he was the assistant coach under Roy Williams at North Carolina for a good little run too. So the man is well versed in basketball, well deserving of the job as the University of North Carolina, and he became the first black head coach. But during the interview, man, they asked him. They said, they was asking him about being the first black head coach, and he was giving the answer. But he said, "I'm also proud of my white wife too." I'm like, what? Say what? Where this come from? You proud of having your white wife too? They talking about you being black, and you talk about you being proud of having a white wife. I'm like, oh shit, Hubert. Man, who know what's going on with that, man? You who was
Man, it
following
look bad for us light skinned dudes out here, man. I'm like, dude, like, what are you doing? Like, literally, I wonder if he regrets saying that now, or he felt like he gave his wife props. You could have just said, "Hey, I'm thankful that I got a wife by my side supporting me." It didn't have to be a you didn't have to bring your wife race into it. I know you're the first black, and I was happy because I was happy that North Carolina UNC went to a black coach, right? You don't normally see that, right? So, but dude, you just lost all your points, all your cool points. So, yeah, it's crazy.
Let me tell you something. He's not gonna really feel it until he try to go recruit that black kid with that
it?
black mama. And,
That part.
and she reminds him of that same white wife that he was so proud of. How do you sell that to a recruit or a 5-star kid? And you just said that with a black mom sitting there looking at you in your face. How do you sell that?
Yeah, you can't. You can't sell it to no black woman I know.
Not none in my circle, right, Star?
Not in my circle. The black women I know, they seem to be a little upset by this white
Oh,
comment.
they
So
was chomping at the bit.
the only reason I can see this man saying that is if he was catching hell from his wife already at home. She was like, "You gonna go in there and they just gonna talk about all your black side and don't forget you got the other side of your family." And he was like, "Man, let me just cut this shit off at the path. Look, I got a white wife and I love her. Can we go back to the black stuff? Because it served no purpose.
None. I'm
I was
with
embarrassed for
Jawan.
the dude. Like, damn,
I'm
bro, I
with
can't even be mad
Jawan.
at you. I'm too embarrassed for you.
I'm with Jawan. Why did that even matter at the time? Why can't you just say I appreciate my wife such and such for having my back and always standing in the place of me when I miss my daughter such and
All you
such or
had to
whoop
do.
de whoop. You ain't have to be so descriptive. This wasn't no English paper. This wasn't no dissertation or
Look,
nothing.
his
You know
wife
what I'm
had to be
saying?
giving him hell about that already. She had to.
Yeah,
There's
but
no reason.
listen,
There's no other reason for that to be said.
Star, I'm asking you a question. You're a black mom. Don't know if you have kids or not, but I'm asking you anyway. What do you say to your son when he comes into your living room selling this sales pitch about how he can teach him, help him transition from a young man to a man and such and this and that? What would be your first thought?
First of all, he better not come. He better send one of his assistant coaches. That's his best bet. You better send an assistant coach because you and I have nothing to talk about, sir. I
So
am
he
glad
can't
that
even
you were
seal
proud
the
of your
deal.
family. You should be proud of your family. But the fact that you felt the need to push that, just send one of your assistants.
Mm.
Man. But how do you feel at that point with leaving your you still have to leave your child in his care, regardless if he send his black assistant Sly or his
This is
light skinned assistant Jawan. You're gonna have to deal with him at some point.
well. I mean, a lot of that is you got to deal with them. But when you got kids, you don't always like all they coaches, and that starts Pee Wee football, AAU.
Oh yeah,
This may be
that's true.
sadly one of the instances where, as a parent at that level, where you want to step out and let your son grow, but you don't know the influences he's getting. So you may have to still be around a little bit more, um,
Right.
where like you were when he was younger and involved in sports. But you're never gonna like everybody on that coaching staff. The thing is to make sure that he is getting what he needs to from that staff, what for his skill set. At that point, hopefully he's already had the right people in his life to help mold him into a man, and all y'all doing is teaching him skills and preparing him for the next level, and he can get this degree. But you know, I'm gonna use you the same way you gonna use me. You using me to sell tickets. I'm gonna use you for this education to get my son to the next level, and we gonna move on. I'm not gonna put, my kid's faith in his manhood in the hands of someone who you can't even conduct a basic interview. Like your wife pressured you into reminding everybody she white. What?
So I got a question now. Being that he said that, do you really see him as being like the first black coach at UNC, or you just see him being an Uncle Tom or something like that?
I mean, regardless of how he affiliates, he still is a black man who's accomplished something that's never been done for one of the top, programs in the nation. So you gotta respect that. But we'll see what he does, because
Hey, I
Not
can tell
he's
you
gonna have a
what,
hell
if
of a time recruiting black players, though. Damn.
he is, and that's gonna hurt it. That led to my point, Star. He can be a black still part of the black race, but when he start losing, that's when he
That's what's
gonna
gonna
really
happen.
start feeling it. When he
Hmm.
start losing all these recruits to John Calipari and some of these other top programs, these blue bloods, he'll start feeling it then, and he'll start
Yep.
kicking himself in the
Yep. I give
what
him 2 years.
you know.
ass.
Here's my thing. You said you brought in something interesting, Jawan. You said, is he a black man, or maybe is he a Uncle Tom or something like that? Now, we don't know anything about Hubert Davis. We don't know how Hubert Davis get down. We don't know if he might just be super black, but he just happened to fall in love with a white chick, and that's who he married. But it's a lot of underlying stuff when it comes to, and I can understand why a lot of black women get mad, because it seems like every time you see a famous athlete, he's married to a white chick. Well, I don't know about basketball. I played football in college. And I'm going to tell y'all, I'm going to break it down for the world right here on the Rip 28 podcast. I'm going to break it down on how that happens. You know, how these black guys end up falling in love and marrying white chicks. I'm going to break it down for you. And what happens with the football team? The football team, when you go to college, you know, nobody really knows who you are because on the football field everybody's wearing helmets. You know what I'm saying? It's 70 something people on the team, so it's a lot of people to mix in. Now most of the time when freshmen go to college, they get what they call red shirted on the football team. They don't start, they're on the bench. Now what people don't know is if a brother, he's on the football team, he's on the bench, and he's trying to holler at a particular woman, and he don't have much game, and he using the fact that he play football. Well, he trying to holler at the sister, and she like, well, you play football, and he like, well, I don't see you on the field. He say, well, I'm red shirted, and then she'll write him off. She'll say, oh man, well you ain't no good, you ain't playing, so I'm gonna leave you alone. I ain't gonna mess with you. Now rewind over to the white side of the fence. This white chick, she grew up. Her daddy watched football. Her daddy, played football, so she followed the daddy around. Now she know that this dude who trying to holler at her, she know him from high school. She know he was a top recruit in high school, but he went to college and he's playing behind a junior or a senior who's all American. So she understands he's sitting the bench. So what she gonna do? She gonna put her time in. That white chick, I done seen it happen on multiple occasions. I seen it happen. The white chick put her time in. You know, the brother, the brother, he ain't getting no playing time. Sisters won't holler at her, but this white chick will take care of him. You know what I'm saying? She'll wash his clothes when his clothes need wash. She'll let him hold the daddy car to ride around campus. You know what I'm saying? To go wherever you want to go. He need a little bit of change. She got a little bit of change. She'll break him off a little bit of change. Now, when he start to climb that ladder, when them seniors and juniors leave, and he there by himself, when he there, and now he the man. He the man on the field, and he doing everything he need to do, and he getting ready to go to the league. Then the sisters kind of crawl back out the woodwork, and now they want to holler. Now they want to pay him a little bit of attention. But here go the thing. He like, well, shit. Where was you at when I wasn't nobody? You know, Karen was over here when I wasn't nobody, and now you want to pop out on the scene. Then he ends up with the white chick because she was there from the beginning. And that's how it happens, man. I done seen it happen, man. I seen it up close and personal happen on multiple occasions. And that's for everybody wondering why the brothers end up with white chicks. That's how it happened. This has been a slight educational moment on the Rip 28 podcast.
Not gonna touch it.
Not gonna touch
Hey,
it.
and I'm gonna tell you another
I'm gonna leave
thing.
it alone
Hey,
too.
Sly, I ain't leaving it alone. The hell of I do. And they also, when you go to these recruiting visits, who's the ones that's showing you around?
It's always the white chick showing you around.
Always the white chicks. That's the
Always the
first thing you see when you get on
You ever
campus
wonder why they
and when
picked
you
them to show
leave.
y'all around though?
Yeah, I do. I know why.
If it's black girls at that school, there's a reason why they're picking the white girls to be the first impression you have on that campus.
Hmm.
Y'all forget y'all miss that part.
easy
Keep going.
access.
Hey,
Like I
hey,
said, I'm
we
not gonna
don't.
touch it.
Hey, Star, we don't forget. We just think with the wrong head.
Exactly. Exactly. You
So
17,
then
18
my
years old.
my next question is, why are either one of your heads more impressed with that version of a woman than the version that raised you?
Well, no,
It's
no, no,
it's
no.
it's
See,
it's
see,
it's,
you,
it's
you
not that
wrong.
we more impressed. It's
Yeah.
not that we more impressed. It's easier.
Thank you.
And when you're
Thank you.
18 years old, you're not looking for a challenge. You're looking
Mm-mm.
for the easy route. Whether it's in school, whether it's a job, whether it's a female, male, whatever you choose. You're looking for the easiest route, not something that you're gonna have to put work into because you already have school, football, and other things outside of that. So you're
But what
looking for
y'all
the
miss
easiest
is
route.
what you miss is you're the easy route for them.
I think what they're saying is that yeah that it's easy and they don't have to put in work, and those girls, they're gonna do whatever, with a black female, you're gonna have to do more to keep that black female
Mm-hmm.
happy. The white
Hallelujah.
female, she don't
Oh,
care
so this
about, she
comes
don't
out of
care what.
laziness. Okay.
Well,
It
the white
Yeah,
co-
female, she
exactly.
don't
That's
care
an
about
18-year-old.
See,
what you
you
do.
think
She only gonna do everything to make you happy, and you don't have to do anything for her.
See, you thinking we like we 40, we all 40 years old. You know what I'm saying? We all
Right.
all in our early 40s. And so you thinking out of a 40-year-old's mind, and you not thinking out of a 17 or 18-year-old's mind. You know, our
Okay.
mindset at 17 and 18 is a lot different. We not trying, first of all, at 17 and 18, when you in college at 18 and 19, you can't afford to take no girl out. You can't afford to court her properly. You know what I'm saying? At that age. But when you got when you got that young thing over there who don't want you to take her out, who got her own, who will take you out, what you gonna do? What decision you gonna make? And most black girls are brought up with respect for themselves. They brought up that you can't go around and you can't give it up all quick and easy like that. And they taught well. They taught in the church. The few white women that I know wasn't taught the same way. You know what I'm saying? They wasn't taught the same. I could be wrong. I don't know every white woman on the face of the earth. I'm just saying, just the ones I knew at Eastern Kentucky University was a whole lot looser than the black chicks at Eastern Kentucky.
Really? You just gonna call them out like that?
Hey, I'm gonna call them out like that. It's just a whole lot easier at Eastern Kentucky than it was the black chicks at Eastern Kentucky, man. It is what it is.
And I'm
Well,
gonna say
as
this for
a
the record.
HBCU alum, they easy everywhere.
Yeah, yeah. Well, now when you 40, you know and you realize that you learn that now at 40, but at 18, you not trying to put in no work,
No
none.
work. But listen, to be clear, I'm not saying that for me. I'm just saying in most instances, guys are not looking for the challenge. Not at 18 years old, we're thinking, I need something quick, I need something easy, I need something I can call right now and it happens. Almost like a magic trick star.
Okay,
Mhm.
I can get that. I'll accept that.
But now, in
'Cause
my 40-year-old, in our 40-year-old mind, that happened long, long. How you say
Long,
slap
yeah,
long, long,
long, long, long,
long,
long,
long,
long,
but the
long,
thing
long
is,
time
as
ago.
long.
women, once we get 40, we don't want all of that. We want something quick, easy, don't stress me out. I don't look.
So y'all
Let's
describe
make it
it.
easy.
Y'all describe it as the 18-year-old kid, and see. So why they end up being 20, 24, 25, end up marrying them? Like what?
Because she was there from the beginning. She
No,
was
she
there
wasn't.
when.
She was there in the middle. Let's
No, no,
call
She
it
was
the middle.
no, she
trust
was
me.
there when he was shooting in the gym.
I look,
Exactly.
That
The
was
When he was
beginning
shooting
was
in the gym.
she
the
was
beginning was the
rebounding.
girls you went to high school with who helped you write them essays so you could stay on that team.
Yeah, but
That's the
they
beginning. Let's just
Oh,
they
she
ain't make it
she
to
pop up
college.
in
They,
they pop
yeah,
up in the middle where they see some potential for something next and they rub your
yeah,
ego the right way and you
yeah.
too
But see,
lazy
they
to
was
put
at
in work so you
McDonald's.
fall
They
for
was
it.
working at McDonald's, Star. They was at McDonald's. They wasn't at the ones that was writing my essays. I mean, Jawan wrote. I'm gonna be honest. Jawan wrote my essays in high school. The doctor. I ain't gonna even
yeah,
lie.
okay.
that, that, that
I
was,
don't know, Star. I don't know. It's just, I guess it just comes out of convenience and
Yeah,
being easy.
a large part of it is convenience. That's especially if you at one of these big D1 schools, you're exposed to more white women than you are us.
hmm
And
Right.
unless you have already have that strong connection and foundation with black women and you've just decided that that's the path you want in life, you got 46 white girls around you every day throwing it at you, and you at a D1 school, if you go to the league, that's a lot of what you're going to see from a collegiate experience and a socioeconomic experience once you get there. So I think
Well,
once you that you have to have a desire for us. And the reality is oftentimes when that tax bracket increases, sadly the desire for us decreases.
I don't think so, man. And,
It
and,
has.
and maybe it's just
in
me because
some cases, in some cases,
maybe it's just me because ain't nothing more beautiful than a black woman in my world. You know what I'm saying? So I
You,
don't see the desire decreasing. I just see the availability. You know what I'm saying? That's who is there. And when you reach and this is me speaking from guys I know who've reached that level, of athletic success and made it to the league and stuff like that. When they reached that level, the sisters weren't there for them when they were in college and when they were nobody.
I don't buy that. I don't buy
No,
that.
Yeah,
they not.
this
They're not
What
checking.
I think it is, I think that these guys just think they're getting something better.
um
And when they get money and they think that they're getting something better when they're really not. That's what I believe it is.
I
And that's
wouldn't
what
say
we, as
better.
black
I
women,
wouldn't
that's what
say
we believe.
better.
We
I
believe
wouldn't say
that's
better. I wouldn't say better. I would say different. Because growing up, most of us were around black women, black men. If you on the female side, so I think guys want something different, want to see something different. I don't think it's better.
but answer me
But
this.
for
Why
me,
do you
I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this, though. Before you say your point, I'm gonna say this. For me, I want a woman like Diane Brown. That's my mother. If you ain't like my mother, she told me if you can't use her comb, don't bring her ass home. And I'm bringing
so
one with nappy hair. But I'm bringing one with nappy hair. I'm
let me
just
put this
telling you,
disclaimer
sir.
out there. If you whoever you fall in love with, be with it. I have friends who are interracial couples and family and all that stuff. So that's not an issue. But my thing is, what is so, and I need you guys to be blatantly honest, what is so bad about us that you want to go and do something different?
well,
Because
see,
here's
you asking the wrong people because all us
Yeah.
well,
married
he
or
just
ex.
said he said they want something different. So if you're gonna say that,
I
then you
said
gotta
I
have
said
something to back
some
it up.
guys. I only said some guys because they look for the exotic, quote unquote. Look at my quotes, quote unquote, the exotic, because they've been around black women.
But you know
And I'm
what?
not saying that. I'm not saying that to be fact. I'm only throwing out my opinion because I've never been with a white woman. I've only been with sisters, so I
But
don't know
what you're doing is proving Jay Wan's point because he said they
how.
feel like they're getting something better. You can put different,
No,
whatever label it is you want, you're putting on there. It's still because they feel like they're getting something that exceeds what they've always been exposed to.
I don't. I
That's why
don't
they
know.
gotta go
I don't. I don't know
exotic,
about that
the
stuff.
foreign, all of that other stuff.
I
And
don't know about that.
it may not feel good to use the term better, but the fact that you got to put exotic or foreign or whatever on it, all it is you want something that feels like an upgrade. It's like
I would say.
it's
I
like a
still would say
freaking
different, Star.
it's like a
I still
Ford
would
and
say
a
different.
Mercedes. It's foreign, but in your mind it's an upgrade because it's something new that you're not usually around and exposed to.
That's why I said something different because it's not something that I'm usually exposed to. That's like if I've always
But
been
if you
eating at
desire the
McDonald's.
Mercedes, if you've always had the Ford, it's been there, it's shown up, it's done everything you need. But you have when you get a little bit more money, damn, I gotta get that Mercedes. I gotta get that Benz. It does the exact same thing
Because he
as
couldn't
that
get
Ford has
he
always
couldn't
done.
get, you know why? Because they couldn't get the Mercedes back
They couldn't
then.
get it.
But
But when
now they
that
got some
tax bracket
money.
changed,
They could get the Mercedes
they
now.
can
And so
get it
that's
because they feel like it's something better and different.
I wouldn't. I
And
still wouldn't say
sadly,
better.
a lot of men look at women as possessions and labels. Like a
I
lot of
look at it
men,
as a status, as a status.
a status.
Most
Your woman is your status.
some men think a white woman is status, and maybe
Right.
that's what
But
Davis
I mean,
thought.
the reality
That
is,
by saying that that's my white wife and I'm proud of it, I guess maybe he thinking that that's his status. I'm not
but the
sure. Like I said, I don't know. I'm only speculating. I've always been with a sister. I don't know. I'm just speculating, Star. So don't put me in that boat with
but
Hubert
you should,
Davis and
but
them guys.
whether you, whatever race your mate is, you should wear them as a badge of honor and a status symbol. You want to pick the person you think is the most amazing reflection of you, so you can wear that as a status symbol and a badge of honor. It's just interesting that for so many black men, when they become successful at a certain level, that status symbol and that honor looks nothing like what created them and helped them get there.
And
And
I
for us,
totally
that's the
agree.
part that's a smack in the face.
I totally agree with that, but I still wouldn't say that we think that not we, because I'm not in that boat. They think it's better. I would just think it's something different. But it's just a difference in opinion. That's why we have a podcast.
Yeah,
So
that's true, man. That's why we sit up here and we talk these things out on the Rip 28 podcast. We try to get to the bottom of the situation, man. We try to figure everything out on the Rip 28 podcast, man. Hopefully, we'll figure out why athletes like white women. they want they want to taste
That's
it.
not limited to athletes. That's just men black men once they reach a tax bracket period.
Nah,
yes,
see,
ma'am.
see, I'm going. I hate.
Well,
I hate when women say that. I hate when women say that because if you look at any statistical category, it will tell you that a black man is more likely to marry a black woman. All the statistics and all the numbers say that. They all say that. It's a proven fact. But what happens, man, you see a few high caliber, well, I don't know about high caliber, but high profile guys who are married to white women, and that those few, that's what determines the narrative. And that's not true, man. It's not true at all, man.
What she's saying, I think, if I'm not speaking for Star, but what I think I hear is, it's not the guys, the 9 to 5 guys, or the guys that have everyday jobs. She's talking about the guys once you reach a certain status, a certain fame, you think that white women are it, or foreign women, or the Kardashians. I don't think she's speaking for the guys like you and Jawan and I think she's speaking of the high caliber guys, or high profile
Income.
guys like Charles Barkley and the Barry Bonds and those type of people. That's what I think she's saying. Am I right, Star? Am I hearing that correctly?
You hit it close. You got a wife at home,
Okay.
don't you?
I had a wife.
Okay.
I had a wife.
You tiptoe around those phrases like a man that's had to go through the ringer before.
Hey, listen, Star. I know how to choose my vocabulary, my vernacular. Very carefully when I have a black woman around me, because I know. But I love black women. I've only been with black women. I want that to be put out there. If you can't use my mama's comb, I can't bring your ass home.
I don't know, man. The whole interracial thing is a really interesting topic, really interesting convo,
So
man. Go ahead.
I have a question. I know two of you are divorced, one of you is still married. Did you guys ever date interracially?
Let's
I've
define
never,
date. Let's
I've
Did you
never
see
dated
her out
before.
doing daylight hours?
no,
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 no.
no.
I'm that football player Sly talking about. No, not in daylight
Not
hours.
doing daylight hours. Not doing daylight hours.
It had to
Nope.
be it had to be pitch black.
So, so she looked black.
So I've
Well,
actually dated interracially.
Say
wow.
what?
I
So
actually have.
so what was wrong with me that you couldn't date me? Stop.
Yeah, how come you couldn't date a black man? Stop. What's wrong? What's wrong with the
All I
brothers?
know is that white boy walked up to me and was like, "Wow, please tell me you date white boys." And I was like, "If you're nice, yeah." He was like, "Okay," and gave me his number, and we went from there.
Well, you know,
But tell me you date light skinned men, and here go my number. How about that, Star? How
Long
about
as you
that?
ain't, long as you 6 feet, I got you.
Oh, I'm 6'2", baby. I'm 6'2".
Now,
Oh man, but no, that surprises me, Star. That did kind of catch me off guard, Star Davis.
So since you have the experience, then how was that? Was it different?
I, to
Was
me,
So
it,
how it was, tell me why it was. Tell me why. I need to know
no,
the why.
I did it twice. I met them. They were nice guys. They
Yes.
approached me. We had great conversation. We started hanging out and kicking it. But I will say that the only difference that I found, because humans are humans, men are men, there's lying, there's cheating, all that shit happens regardless. But the one
It happens
fundamental
below
difference
the
I
waist.
found is white men inherently trust you. With black men, you earn that trust.
Hmm.
All right.
and the thing,
And I think it's because white men live in a space where they live in a world where everything is inherently good and nothing should be going wrong and da da da. Where we live in a space where we suspicious of everything at all times because you never know what's going to happen. So that
because
was the only difference I had. Like one of the guys I was seeing, I spent the night at his house first time. We had been seeing each other maybe a month or so. And he had to get up early to go work out. And it was like 4:35 in the morning. So I hear him stirring. I'm like, oh, okay, well, I'm going to get up and go home. And he was like, no, baby, this is my first time ever spending the night at his house. No, baby, you good. You can stay here. And I was like, huh? He was like, I left a key on the counter. You know, if you get up before I come back, just lock the door and I'll see you whenever you come back. Just let me know when you're coming back. You know, if not, I'll be back and I'll bring some breakfast. What? I called my homeboy like, hey,
Hmm?
so look, let me tell you what just happened. His
he had some
response
cameras
was,
in the house. He had cameras in the house.
he was like,
he
nah, that's
had
some white boy shit. We're not doing
he had
that.
he had cameras and he was waiting. He was waiting to
Yeah.
see what you was gonna do. When he saw you made that phone call to your homeboy, he was like, "Wait a minute, she from Baltimore. She calling the homeboy. He coming over
Yeah.
here to rob me. He coming over
My
here to
homeboy hit
rob
me.
me."
Hey,
He
hey,
said, nah, that's some
Star,
white boy shit. We don't do that.
Star. If that was me, when I got up, you need to be getting up too. You need to be
If that
getting
was
up,
me when
packing
I
your
get up,
stuff.
you leaving too. We all leaving
Yeah,
out of
you
here
need to
today.
be. I'll walk you to your car. I'll walk you to your car, make sure you get in. You can leave before me. But you're not staying at the house without me. You need to get up and be ready to go.
And I think we may have been a month in. And I was like, no, I'm gonna get up and leave. He
What?
was like, no. He was like, it's cold, lay down, go to sleep. I'll be back. Or if you need to go home before I get back, I left the key.
That was
So
Jawan and his people. That was Jawan and his people. That white stuff.
I don't know.
And it's crazy because every black guy I tell that story, you have two has the same expression y'all have. Like, what the white dudes be like, okay, well, I wanted you to get rest.
not a month in. Not a month in.
Nah, not a money.
Not
Hey,
a not a,
hey,
we gotta
you
have some time built up, some equity,
yeah.
some sweat equity put in this thing for you.
We had to go through some shit before you could just stay at my house without me.
Yeah. And
Mm.
and it was I wasn't the first black woman he dated. So like all the other stuff being out in public and people saying stuff, it upset me more than it upset him. He was like, I've been dating black girls since high school. I'm used to this.
See, my thing is, I often wonder though about white men like that. Are you only dating, and even white women who date black men? If you do that exclusively, are you doing it because that's what you're fetishizing? Are you fetishizing black people, or are you doing it to make? There's a couple of reasons I get questions and concerns. Are you doing it to make your daddy mad? You know what I'm saying? You doing it to make your daddy mad? Because like say when I was in Kentucky, man, it was certain white chicks, throw themselves at you or whatever. And I talked to, I had a conversation with one of them. We laying up in the dorm room, and she was like, "Well, yeah, my dad told me not to mess with any black guy." And she like, "Yeah, so this is why you're here." I'm like, "Wow, thank you." I don't know how to feel about that. I don't know how to feel about that, and it's just, I don't know. For me personally, the reason I don't think that I could be with a white woman is because I don't know. I can't relate. I don't have anything to relate to her with. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what. I'm gonna be honest. At this age, at 40, I wouldn't even know how to approach a white woman, and that's just me being honest. I wouldn't know how
Why
to.
would you think you have to approach her differently than any other woman?
I don't know. I don't know.
You do.
Yeah, I
I'm gonna
don't
tell
know.
you something.
And, and
I went to North Greenville University, 95% white school. And I had back in college, I had long braids, the cornrows. And I had several white girls say they were interested, but they were scared of me. So you do have to approach them differently because with cornrows, I could just approach a black female as myself, but approaching them, I had to be cautious because they was already looking at me like I was a robbery suspect.
hmm it's different, and I think you being a woman, this is where men are alike. Um, that white guy was approaching you. He was like, okay, well, this is just another woman I'm approaching, and
So that
this a guy who had it. You said yourself had experience just dating nothing but sisters. That's all he dated. So he has experience. Like, but me on the other hand, I have never dated a white chick. So I wouldn't know. I had the same conversation with my first cousin. My first cousin married a white girl, and we were talking about this a couple of years ago. She's the nicest white girl you ever want to know. Nicest white girl you ever want to know. But I was like, well, how you approach? He said, well, he was raised around white women, so it was just more comfortable for him to talk to him, and he was like, it's more comfortable for him to talk to white women because that's who he was raised with. He wasn't raised
I get
around
that.
black girls.
I get that makes sense because I've had white men say to me that they would have approached me, but they weren't sure if I would date white men.
Mm, So
I actually
yeah.
had colleagues say that to me after years after working together. So,
And get that Me Too situation going on. These are colleagues, that little workplace,
hey, I'm old. I did it, been there, done that, would do it again.
workplace drama. That's one thing about my field I don't have to worry about. I don't have to worry about that in my field. Ain't too many people, ain't too many women working my field.
I
But
made that dumb decision before.
oh well, we all do that. Why you gotta take that sip, take that strong sip.
Hmm.
Oh, now
Star, did
oh,
you say you would do it? You would date again outside of your race?
Yes. Yep.
mm,
I'm not. Do I seek outside of my race? No, I love you guys. Like, whew. But if I met a man who was Hispanic, my last boyfriend was half Hispanic. If I met a man who was Hispanic or white or whatever, and there was a connection and a chemistry, and we could have true, honest, open dialogue about social issues, and we had that same path, I wouldn't knock that out. I mean, as a 42-year-old woman, I'm not gonna eliminate that whole entire demographic because of that.
See, my thing is, I think I'm too old to explain to my significant other why Black Lives Matter. You know
Oh,
what I'm
now
saying?
see,
So
I'm
that
not gonna do that.
that's
I'm not
why
gonna do that.
that's why I don't think I don't know if I could. I don't know if I personally could. But who is it to say, man? One of my real good homeboys, real tight homeboy. He married a white woman, and this dude had in his prime, he knocked him down with the best of them. You know what I'm saying? In his prime, he got the best of them. And I asked him, I say, well, man, why you decide to marry her? This was early. This was, when he engaged her. He say, man, I never thought I would marry a white woman, but she just the one that captivated me. She just the one. She didn't take my shit, and I accepted it. I accepted the fact she kept me on my toes, and she was the one for me. And I left him alone. I never asked. I never asked him again. He said that's the one I love. So I was like, okay. And I told him, I said, man, I'm not gonna wipe your ass when you're sick. I'm not gonna take care of you when you're horny. So you better go and find the one who will. And that's what he did. But I was kind of surprised he actually married her. Now everybody else who know him said, well, I knew he was gonna marry a white woman, but I was really surprised. But that's who he
Hey,
chose.
Sly,
That's who he
I
fell in love.
knew it. I knew it, Sly.
You
I
knew,
hate to say it, but I
man.
knew it.
Man, people say
I
that.
knew it.
People say that, but if you seen his hit list, you seen his exes, you would be surprised. You would be
I
surprised.
wouldn't. I wouldn't, Sly. I promise you, I wouldn't. I
We can.
love him, and I'm always support him, but I I just I just I just know. I just know that I knew it. I knew it. Deep down in my heart of hearts, I knew
Listen, I have two homegirls right now. Who One of them is divorced. One of them is going through a divorce. I told both of them, your next husband or your next man, he ain't gonna be a black man. He's gonna be Hispanic or white. I know that already. One of them is like, no, I have to be with a black man. I said, you keep that. It's not gonna happen. Your next man, he's gonna be Hispanic or white.
Nah, nah. We gonna hold out hope, man. We gonna hold out hope, man. We are getting close to the edge, man. This thing went on a little bit longer than we thought, but just having Star on here, bringing on her opinions and bringing on her expertise on some different subjects that I didn't know about. Now I ain't know about Star and her taste for white meat. I ain't know
it.
about that.
Uncooked meat.
Uncooked
Uncooked.
white meat. I ain't know about that one, but
Still
we
serves up pretty good though.
Well, mm.
Yeah, come on.
I don't
Don't even
know.
tell me about
I don't know if she gonna be my future baby mama talking like that. I don't know. I don't know,
it.
Hey,
man.
if I can't judge you on your past, you can't judge me.
Oh,
Because some of the things you done said you did on this 1 hour alone, sir.
hey, I don't know what you thought. That was a long,
long,
long
long,
time ago.
long, long time ago.
Long time ago, man. But we got to go ahead and kind of end this thing, man. Any parting shots, man? You got anything to say before we get out of here, JK?
Nah, the conversation took an interesting turn. We go from DMX to ended up talking about interracial dating because of Hubert Davis. So, nah, it was a good conversation. Everybody be real like DMX. Be real. Love who you love. Be who you are. That's it.
What about you, LBZ? What you got to say to get out of here?
All I'm gonna say is love conquers all. If a white woman or a white man conquers your heart, love them to the best of your ability and have a great life. But for me, I'm gonna stick with my sisters. Love you all.
And the beautiful Star, what you got to say to get us out of here?
Just thanks for the invite. I hope I ain't take us on too many tangents. I tend to go a little bit when I catch something. So I appreciate the invite, the hospitality. And anytime I can drink with people and have good conversation, I'm happy.
We
Well, Star, I want you back. I want to have you back, Star. I appreciate you.
Appreciate it.
we definitely love the one and only Miss Star, and that's her real name too. That ain't even her stripper name.
Oh, I didn't know that. I was like, okay.
So
I was gonna
my
ask you.
government name is Star, and then my biker name is So Extra.
That's her biker name. She
Hold
Star is
on.
a biker. Yep.
Before we go, I just want to know, is it your biker name or your exotic
Oh no, that's another name.
name? Okay, well, don't, we'll talk later. Don't you worry.
Ooh-wee. Well, that is it, man. This is the RIP 28 podcast, man. We're a podcast where a few friends can get together and we can talk about a few things. Now, some of those things you might like, some of those things you might not like, but we're going to keep on talking about it on the RIP 28 podcast. We'll see you soon, man. See you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Holla.
Freedom, freedom.